guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's Newsstand, and I want to talk a little bit, since this is my first official video since my final prediction video, though we did talk in live stream. I want to talk about the result of the JD and AH case, and I also want to talk about why exactly her appeal is dead on arrival. And I don't see a lot of people mentioning this one small fact that completely kills her appeal. And I want to talk about that. And it is really kind of amazing to see this fallout. We're seeing the media, for one, start to see the reality of this situation when they only seen it through a burden of lies before. We're starting to see them even take the side of this victim. Most importantly, the biggest two things to come out of this are men have a huge person to look up to and be able to speak out when it comes to domestic violence on male victims. Also, two, you need to stop with and I'm not any sort of right winger, so I want to make that clear. Stop with the believe all women bullshit. Listen to all victims. Listen. Listening is important. There is a good differentiation between listening and actually knowing and believing 100%. Because something like what we saw with Me Too, even though it had really good effects, can be weaponized. And that's exactly what we see in this situation. As a society, we should look at ourselves and go, yeah, maybe listening is better at first than believing and realizing the truth of a situation. And I want to make it very clear when I say I am 100% always, and I mean always, on the side of the victim. And I always will be. And that's why I have been covering this case for nearly 4 years. But let's talk a little bit about this appeal, because all the reports are coming out. Elaine is making her press round. And I did share a couple of those on my shorts. I always share stuff when I see it so you guys can also get eyes on it. But Elaine is making her press rounds. She's gone to a different few organizations. She was supposed to be at Court TV today, but actually got pulled away by the court. And it looks like she is trying to discredit again, all of the facts we've seen in this 7-week trial. She is trying to discredit not only Johnny, but the lawyers, social media, anything to not take the brunt of your client, right? And we're seeing a lot of that. She's also talking about the appeal. And Amber wants to appeal this case. And from my understanding, there's actually a court date set for July 26th, I want to say. It's a temporary court date at 10 a.m. So, of course, I'll keep an eye on that. But one thing no one's talking about, and this is big. Now, I am going to use the Daily Mail. Not a huge fan of any social media or any mainstream media. But the biggest point that people are failing to realize is Amber would need to post bond of the full amount she owes Depp, plus interest over the course of the appeal trial. We have heard Elaine come out and specifically say she cannot afford to do this. She cannot afford to pay him. So unless she has some deep pockets somewhere, I don't think Elon's going to bail her out again, but stranger things have been known to happen. Maybe she will sell a house. I know she did just buy one recently. I think she bought one thinking she was going to be successful, but that's a whole different point in itself. Unless she were to sell the house, unless she were to do something like that, you can look her up online, and it's actually pretty hilarious. If you Google her net worth, just do it for me. It's -$8 million. Negative. Let me repeat that. She's worth -$8 million. How is somebody that is in the hole that much going to come up with, and actually, I believe this is a mistype, or it was before, I'm not sure. I think it's $8.35 million that she owes him, that she would have to have in a separate account, verified, in order to go with appeal. She can go to the media all she wants and say that she is going to appeal. She can make her PR press rounds and say she is going to do it. But until she has that money in an account, this appeal is dead on arrival. Now, there is a bunch of stuff in this. It's likely it will go nowhere. It's likely she is done. And I'm also seeing, and something I wanted to comment on, is the Aquaman rumors. Now, I want you guys to remember, don't hate the messenger, but what you're seeing is, again, just like the stuff I've shared on my timeline, likely taken with a grain of salt. We saw a woman on TikTok claim to be an executive with no proof whatsoever and say that Amber was completely removed. I very seriously doubt that. It would be ideal for not only DC Comics fans, but for justice in general, especially after what we've seen them do to Johnny. She's already paid. She's already paid for Aquaman. They're going to use her. She's likely still going to be in Aquaman 2. Again, don't hate the messenger, hate the reality of the situation. She will probably die. And I know everyone is kind of like, oh, well, if that's the case, but I still fully expect to see her in Aquaman 2. I'm just putting it out there. Beyond that, she's done. Not only is she done at Warner Brothers and DC Comics, she is done across the board. She may get a few indie jobs. She may get something small. But this is the most hated woman in Hollywood. She is, by every sense of the word, completely 100% done in Hollywood. And done with this appeal. Like, it's over, Amber. This is when you learn to throw in the towel and just stop. Stop running your mouth. Stop letting Lane running your mouth. Stop defaming, if that's even a word. Johnny, if you guys seen her statement shortly after the court case or the verdict was announced, she literally defamed him again. Stop. Stop right now. You need to absolutely start working on rebuilding your image. That's the only chance you have with anything. And even at that, it's unlikely. We've seen celebrities rebuild their image. It takes a good 10 plus years, sometimes even longer. But then you see people like Mel Gibson back in movies. Like, you can rebuild your image. I don't know in this sort of situation that we've seen somebody, but my goodness, O.J. Simpson is still on Twitter and having people believe that that's an innocent man. Like, stranger things have been known to happen in society. So yes, Amber, stop, shut your mouth. Quit digging your hole even deeper. Drop this because it's clear you don't have the money. We've seen Elaine say over and over again, there's no way she can possibly pay him. And move on. Like you begged in court, all you wanted to do was move on. It's time for that. It is absolutely time for that. So let me know what you guys think. You think she's going to be able to come up with the money for an appeal? Or do you think this is the end of the road for Miss Heard? I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.